And this is Weaponized.
Let's talk about that for a second, because I am not one of those people that think that our world would instantaneously be revolutionized by the technologies that we have allegedly recovered and have been reverse engineering. What I mean by that is a lot of people like to say, well, free energy, like instantly the whole structure, infrastructure of fossil fuels would go down and people would lose money and they're fighting against that. I don't see that. And here's why. I don't think it would change things overnight. I think that whatever technologies can be derived from these acquisition programs, that it would take a great deal of material science in order to replicate them. And as we know, all the way back from Bob Lazar back in the day, believe him or not believe him, what he said is becoming much more relevant these days with what we're learning. What he said was that we have no way of replicating these technologies, that material science alone is the limiting factor. It's kind of the speed of light when it comes to this topic. But guess what? He's not the only one that said that to us. I mean, almost across the board, people involved with this have said the number one thing that stopped us is we can't properly replicate the power source. That's what's said to me over and over and over again. I don't know what to make of that completely. I got some theories. But I mean, if that's the case, now back to your point, George, you're basically saying, should this be out? Because we have talked to a lot of people in position to know that are against what we call disclosure, what some people call disclosure. Okay, but disclosure of what? Like, as Lazar has said, whose job is it to not let people know the fundamental nature of reality that we live in? Sure, some things could be weaponized. But look, we've acknowledged the atomic bomb program. We've acknowledged the nuclear programs. We don't teach people how to make nuclear bombs, but we've acknowledged it. So I'm kind of like in this limbo where I'm like, the fundamentals should be told. Secrets should be kept. But where is that in the middle place where we can get the basic information out to the public, if true, and protect national security?
Among the things that we do not know is we do not know of all the people who have met behind closed doors with congressional members and staff. We don't know who, if anyone, has made the argument that disclosure is not a good idea. And here are the consequences if we disclose it. Can you have partial disclosure? It's like partial pregnancy. Let's say Marco Rubio convinces the Pentagon or Lockheed Martin, let me into the hangar, let me see the craft. Oh, there's the bodies. He gets to see that with his own eyes and then goes back and what? Can he say it? What can Congress reveal to us? Can they say, we've got this, we've been working on this for a long time, we're trying to make advances, tell the world about it? Because there are significant ramifications to that. What it tells our adversaries about how much progress we have made on it, the fact that we've got the stuff that they may or may not have. What is the reaction of the public? We think we're ready to know, but are we? Because we don't know what the bottom line is.
I hear you, and I also know that a lot of people we have talked with have cautioned us that there is some truth, some deeper truth that shouldn't be widely publicly known. I think it's fucking bullshit. Like, I honestly want to know what you think. George Knapp, what do you think? I think you're playing both sides here. Do you think the public should know about whatever the reality might be about this? Do you think?
Well, it is my job to let the public know. And I've worked for 35 years to let the public know. But at the end of the day, I'm not sure that that is a good idea. I really am not. And I'm torn over it, and it messes with my head. But the fact is that we don't know what the ultimate effect of revealing this stuff will be. I don't think you can go part way. If we've got bodies in craft, people are going to want to see it. They're going to want to see pictures of it, video of it. They're going to want to see analysis of it. There's no way you can tell them, yeah, it's real, and the public will be satisfied and move on to something else. We do not know so much. We don't know. We haven't seen pushback in the media yet, a little bit here and there, but it's coming. We've seen journalists pummel and pound on people like Dave Grush, Eric Davis, and others who've come forward with information, who put their careers on the line and probably their personal safety to go ahead and tell Congress behind closed doors that this stuff is real. They've done it at great risk, and they've got nothing but grief for it. But the real big push by the New York Times, by the Wall Street Journal, by folks like that has still not been launched. And I think it's coming.
Okay, but I want to get clear. would you ever hide from the global and American public if you found out the absolute 100% truth, or would you report on it?
I don't know.
Really?
I don't know. I mean, I've grappled with that question. Let's say somebody comes to you and says, all right, we can tell you, you can come in and see it. We'll let you into Area 51. There it is. But on the condition that you can never report it? That's a tough question.
Oh, you're going to light the internet on fire right now. Every troll in the
Because I'd like to know. I mean, if the cost of it is that I can't tell anybody about it, it's a tough question.
Yeah. Okay. So let me reverse that a little bit. So, because as a journalist, if you found out nobody put restrictions on you, would you tell the public?
Yeah. I mean, my inclination is, of course. Yeah. But let's say somebody makes a case to me that this is a really bad idea, and here's why. It puts our security at risk because it tells Russia where we are. It tells China where we are. There's no transparency movement in Russia. There's no disclosure movement in China. We know that those countries have this same stuff and are trying to figure it out. I think it puts us at a disadvantage, a strategic national security disadvantage for us to go ahead and open this stuff up. Although I'd like to know, and I'd like it to happen. I just think we're not hearing that side of it. And I hope that somebody has talked to Congress behind closed doors about where this could lead.
Right. You got to give me a reason. Otherwise, I'm going to light a match and burn the whole house down. You got to tell me why this is something that isn't something we should report on. Like if we get, some sort of definitive knowledge in some way, man, I don't know. I'm being honest right now. I'd light it up.
What if it turns out that aliens made us, that space aliens have been manipulating our DNA, that we are a lab experiment? What if it turns out that interdimensional beings are like Santa Claus? They know when you've been bad or good. They know when you're sleeping. They watch you in the shower, when you're in bed, at your most private moments, sitting on the toilet, that they're always among us, that they can come in and out of our world, that they control our world on a mass scale, and there's nothing we can do about it. Are people ready to handle that?
It's not my job to decide if people are ready to handle that. I say bring it on. What else you got?
I don't know. I mean, but I'm just saying that I hope that somewhere along the line, as Congress is considering this, that they take that into consideration. The other part of it is, let's say Marco Rubio, Senator Gillibrand, they get the tour, they go into the hangar, they see the stuff. What do we know about what they can tell us?
Right.
Because just because they get the information under this legislation does not mean they have to tell the rest of us.
Right.
There's some really interesting language. And as I said before, I think they had some great coaching from Chris Mellon, Lou Elizondo, Dave Grush, people like that,
sure,
about how to develop this language. But it's clever. There are some clever loopholes. Who has this stuff? Where is it? Is there a chain of custody that shows that the crash retrieval stuff, other than Roswell, belonged to the U.S. government, and then we handed it over to a private company? Is there a documentation trail? Is there a money trail? There are references in this documentation and in the legislation to, hey, we're going to cut off the money. If you guys don't comply with this, do we know for sure that there are special access programs controlling this material, the bodies, the craft, whatever, that is funded by the taxpayers? I don't know. I mean, we think that that's true. Do we know how many of these crash retrievals, assuming there are multiple, and we believe that's the case, how many of them were retrieved by, say, Lockheed or SAIC instead of the U.S. military and the U.S. government? Are there subcontractors who did this stuff for the military, then handed it over to another company? They have so many layers of these special access programs. Congress can sniff around about it, but really penetrating that world, by passing this legislation, you might, in effect, force this into an even deeper, blacker hole than it is now.
Oh, that's dark.